You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow your side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews Okome. So let's get started. Hey friends, hey, we are back with another awesome guest. Today in the guest chair, I have Portia Oping. Portia is a social media strategist and LinkedIn coach with over 10 years of experience in social media strategy and content management. She started before snaps were chatted, Instagram had stories, and ticks were topped. And her current specialties are Instagram and LinkedIn. In fact, she helps people level up on LinkedIn, gain clarity, and make more money. She also helps organizations transform their employees into LinkedIn superstars who advocate for the company, amplify brand messaging, and attract the best talent. Fun fact, Portia is a certified side hustler, and one of her side hustles was that she was the Side Hustle Pro social media manager from 2019 to 2020. So if you hear us kikiing and just having a good time, it's because we know each other quite well. And in this episode, we talk about her journey, why she hates jobs, and how to build a LinkedIn profile that helps you side hustle. Let's get right into it. Portia, it is so good to have you in the guest chair at last. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so excited.
I am too, because you are just amazing. You're an amazing spirit and person. And, I've already gone ahead and gone through your bio and how we know each other. But I'm curious, how do you introduce yourself these days?
Oh boy. So when I introduce myself, I'm like, hey, I'm Portia and I'm trying to enjoy my life. So I enjoy dancing, roller skating, singing, and providing unsolicited advice to anybody who will listen. And so the unsolicited advice comes through like my business. I am also a business owner. That too.
You say unsolicited advice. That's an interesting way to capture it because people who come to you, aren't they generally seeking your advice? They're like, hey, give it to me straight. What do I need to do?
It's an interesting balance because my business is I help people with their personal branding and LinkedIn profiles. So I get a lot of people who will send me questions on LinkedIn, but then there's those people who will send me a connection request on LinkedIn and their photo, like their profile photo is invisible. And I know exactly what's going on. And I'll be like, you didn't ask this, but if you go to your settings, you can change your settings.
You can fix this. Okay, I can help you.
So that's the unsolicited advice.
Gotcha. Now, let's go back a little bit. I have so many questions about LinkedIn, but before we even get there, I want to know what has been your career experience and journey?
Oh boy. So I don't really like jobs. I haven't liked jobs.
See, this is why our spirits were drawn to each other.
I don't like them jobs. But if you like your job, you stay at your job, okay? If you like your job. Mm-hmm. But yes, I went to undergrad and I studied business thinking that they would teach me how to start a business. Oh. They did not. They teach you how to work for somebody else's business.
Yes.
And so I had my first job out of college. I worked for Target Corporation. Boy, that was a terrible job for me.
Oh, because Target still sponsor the show, okay?
No, here's the thing, is that Target, they have improved vastly since my time there. Oh my gosh, they've improved so much since my time there. But I was a terrible fit for the role. I was a business analyst. I'm this creative, clearly like this creative free spirit. I had no business being in that role. But then...
None at all. Oh, and by the way, make sure you check this out on YouTube if you're not, because you will see what Portia means. I mean, she's dynamic. Her background, her outfit, even her lip color. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. You have to come over to YouTube to see it.
Yes, come on down to YouTube. But then because the job was so terrible, that's what forced me to have my first side hustle. And that's when I started side hustling because I was working for a small local paper. Sorry, not paper, but it was an online platform for news. And for you to get paid, you needed a lot of views on your article. So I had to learn how to use social media back in the day to get views onto my articles. And then I got my next social media job from there, which the organization was terrible. I mean, these people were awful. Once again, I don't like these jobs. And so then I got another job at a larger nonprofit, also terrible. But still, I learned the skills that I needed to learn. And then got another job
Yeah.
at another place. I mean, again, it's just terrible jobs after terrible jobs. But these jobs forced me to have side hustles all the
Yes.
time.
And when you say forced you, I so relate to that because I remember I started writing for a newspaper as well online, and I then started promoting it on Facebook. And the jobs that I had, I would sometimes even offer them. Like, would you offer these people, like, hey, you guys could be doing this better and this better? And they're like, no, we got someone for that. Or no, we were working with an agency. I'm like, okay. So then I start side hustling to still build out those skills. And it seemed like you did something similar.
Exactly. That was exactly it. In fact, one of the organizations that I worked for, it was before Instagram was really on and popping. And so they were very popular on Twitter, which I still call it Twitter. I don't care what that man changed it to.
I don't care what that man changed it to.
I don't care what that man does. Okay. I'm sorry to that man. But so they were really popular on Twitter, and they were like not doing anything with Instagram. And I was like, y'all, this Instagram thing, I think it's gonna be like kind of popular. And they were like, you do whatever you want with the account. I was like, sure. No strategy, no nothing. I was just posting photos. So yes, I've had that experience too, where it's like, y'all can improve here. And they're just like, whatever.
What I love about you too is not only do you use the platform, but then you strive to get better and also help other people understand how they can get better. So when did that aspect of teaching people develop?
You know, I always thought I was going to be a teacher until I went to my brother. He's a school psychologist. I went to Career Day and talked about my career. I said, these kids, I'm not going to be no teacher. What is this?
Wait. Were the kids not interested, or?
They were very interested, but it was a lot going on.
Oh, okay.
They were very interested, especially because I was like, you can do what you want and make money. And they were like, oh, like, what can I do? And I was like, all right, relax, kids, relax. But anyways, I was like, okay, the classroom is not for me, but I did like that back and forth and the interactions. So there's a local organization in Washington, D.C., that's where I live. I'm not sure if they're still open, but it was called Knowledge Commons. And it was community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like community teaching where you could just go and offer a free class to teach people stuff. And I was like, oh, this sounds fun. And so I taught an Instagram class because at the time I was building an Instagram brand. And from then
I was year was that?
Oh, boy. Oh, this had to be maybe 2017 or 2018. It was a while ago.
Isn't it crazy that 2017 is considered a while ago? I'm still in denial about that, but I digress. So we're going to get into LinkedIn a little bit. We're going to get into the meat of this because I think this episode can really help people to understand how to build a LinkedIn profile that can just help them do whatever it is they want to do, whether that is get a better job so you can better invest in your side hustle, or whether that is test out side hustles so you want to improve your personal brand. All of this is tied back into the personal brand. And why do you think the personal brand is so important?
Well, for me personally, I think it's so important because you can, especially because I'm a millennial, you know, us millennials, we're not staying at these jobs. So you can package yourself to take yourself wherever you want to go. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself to any job. So if your personal brand is strong enough, you can say, all right, me as an individual, I provide so much value to these organizations that when it's my time to go, I can take me, myself, and my brand and go to another organization whenever I feel like it. So you're not really stuck, and you can pivot a lot more when you have a strong personal brand.
You talk a lot about what you call helping women level up in LinkedIn to attract the money-making opportunities they deserve. What do you mean by that, and why do you target women specifically?
Well, my first reason for targeting women is because we know from data, from research, from studies that when women thrive, societies thrive. And when women make money, societies thrive as well. And so my goal is to help women make more money. And I found out early when I started working on people's LinkedIn profiles. I was actually when I first started doing resumes and LinkedIn profiles, but I didn't like those resumes, so I had to let them go. But when I was working with women, I noticed that whenever I would ask them about the work that they were doing, they would be like, oh, well, I don't really do that much. And, you know, it's really a team effort. And, you know, I don't want to brag too much. And I'd be like, girl, this humbleness is keeping you poor and at the same job. Like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
So it's these money making opportunities that they're missing out on because they're like, oh, well, I don't really do that much. Or as my team was really helpful. Last time I checked, teams need leaders to coach and mentor them to get from point A to point B. So you can't diminish the work that you're doing. And I found that as I work with women, when we first started, the humbleness and the timidness. But then by the time we get to the end, they're like, oh, yeah, I did this. Oh, can you add this in there? And I'll be like, all right, girl. We only have so many characters.
You have crossed over. Yeah. You have crossed over. And then, but you also talk about helping transform employees into what you call LinkedIn superstars who advocate for the company. So that's an interesting way to phrase it. I think that's so smart because let's face it, a big part of side hustling is you're still working for someone else for a long time. I've had guests that have worked side hustled for 10 years, 16 years before finally taking their business full time. So as you're working for the company, don't be afraid to elevate yourself while amplifying their message. Why do you think that's so important for both the company and the employee?
Yeah, that's fantastic because that's what I'm leaning into more now in my business is doing more training for corporations. It's a win-win situation for everybody involved. And the example that I always like to give is Bozoma St. John. That iconic moment when she did the Beats by Dre presentation, and people were like, "Who is this woman?" Like, I was like, "I want some beats now."
I was like, "Who's this black lady in this dress with this hair? I need to know."
Right, I need to know who she is, right? And so it was a win-win, right? Because I really hadn't paid attention to, I didn't even know they had events where they premiere different products. I didn't even know that they had that. So for me, I started to get locked into, okay, what is this product? So now they have a new person who is interested in their product in terms of the company. And then also you have this individual who has such a strong brand where you can take her anywhere. You can send her out to conferences. You can send her to be on a podcast, right? And she's going to promote your brand and your business. And then also she gets visibility as well. She gets practice in public speaking and connecting with people and marketing and messaging. So to me, it's a win-win situation, especially when you look at the statistics and the data. If you look at the earned media that these people get, in addition to just the traction that they get on LinkedIn. LinkedIn even has data that shows that individuals will get more traction on the content that they post than the actual LinkedIn company page. So it's a win-win.
What do you think stops people? Sometimes when you get into a job, you just stop posting on these platforms. You're like, especially LinkedIn, you're like, okay, I got the job. I'm good. Why is that a big mistake?
Yeah, it's a big mistake because, as we know, you shouldn't be loyal to these jobs because they're not loyal to you, as we see with all of the layoffs people have had. And what's most frustrating and sad to me is when people are so devastated. Obviously you're going to be upset when you have this layoff. But if you've been doing the work where you've been networking, connecting with people, sharing your expertise in your industry, it's a little bit easier for you to get that next role because you can just call up, 5, 6, 7 people and be like, I'm looking for a next role. Do you know any freelance roles, contract roles, temporary? So it is important to continue to display your knowledge and expertise of your industry, even when you do have a job. In fact, that's the best time to do it because then your boss is going to be like, wow, she just loves this work so much. And she's on LinkedIn talking about her work in the industry. Right. So, yeah.
And she's a superstar. Other people are hitting me up and saying, oh my God, do you know that blah, blah, blah was talking about this? Or you have a rock star on your hands. I love that corporate speak. They love a rock star, right? She's a rock star on your team.
A rock star. Oh man, when they introduce you at meetings, you saw a rock star social media.
Rock star. So go ahead and be that rock star, okay? On the opposite side of that, there's a little bit of fear and trepidation that, oh, they're going to think I'm trying to leave, that I'm looking for another job. I don't want to attract too much attention. How do you, when you talk to your clients, how do you dispel that fear?
Yeah, actually, what's interesting is the biggest fear that I've had with my clients is that when they post something, they're afraid that somebody who is more known in their industry is going to see the post and say, girl, what are you talking about? You're a fool. So that's like, yeah, that's
Oh,
usually the
okay.
biggest fear. But in
Yeah.
terms of content creation for the company, I have one client. She's now my LinkedIn bestie, Brittany.
Okay.
She knew exactly what she wanted to do on LinkedIn, and she wasn't afraid to show up authentically as herself. Girl, she got the vice president of marketing loving her post on LinkedIn, talking about her in meetings, telling people, go follow Brittany on
Nice.
LinkedIn. So I
Nice.
understand the hesitation of like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to draw too much attention to myself. But then that also goes back to your personal brand, right? You want a strong personal brand. And if you're on LinkedIn talking about your industry and the work that you
Yeah.
do, you're not making anything up. You're not bragging, right? You're just
Hmm.
talking about the work that you do. And I think it's good attention to bring to yourself.
Okay, okay. So that's not like a thing that you deal with often. And is that a barrier that prevents people from working with you at all? In terms of the fear of showing up and being visible?
Oh, yes. Yes. People are like, girl, I told you some people don't even have the profile photo when they send me the connection request.
Right. Because LinkedIn used to be like, oh, you can hide your photo so only people who know you can see you, which now that you think about it, is it just defeats the purpose. And I don't know if they
Right.
still have that option, but it's
Right.
like, who are you? Who is this?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, well, a lot of women do struggle with the
Hmm.
visibility aspect of it. And that just comes from
Yeah.
us growing up and being told to be small, shrink
Hmm.
yourself, be quiet, don't be too loud,
Yeah.
things like that. And so I
Yeah.
do have a lot of people who struggle with that. But I just tell them, you want to make money. So you got to.
Yes, yes, yes. And I love that you say that too, because I love to say lay low and build, but I want to clarify that I'm not saying make yourself small. I'm saying like focus, lay low, and then pop back out.
Yeah.
Keep popping back out when you're ready. But when it's time to lock in and focus, it's
Yeah.
not the time to be socializing and just being on social for no reason. I also like to say use these platforms, don't let them use you. So that's
That
what we're
is
here to
so
do.
good. That is so good. Yes, being on social for no reason
For
that's a
no
big thing.
reason.
Yeah,
That's
that's
them
a
using
big
you,
thing.
using your brain,
Yes.
using your mind, collecting data on you.
Listen.
But go ahead and use it to get that role. Go ahead and use it to amplify your side hustle and get that money. Now let's get into the how to build a LinkedIn profile that helps you side hustle portion of today's chat. So I want to know, when it comes to LinkedIn, and even when you're working with people, I've heard you say you emphasize the value proposition statement. What is that, and what do people need to know about that?
Oh, I love a good value proposition statement. So basically, what I do work with people, the biggest thing is for them to understand that they have a skill set that a company needs or a client needs, right? And that's basically your value proposition statement where you tell the client or the company that you have a certain product or service that helps them achieve a certain goal. So that's really
Mm.
the value proposition statement. So letting people know, in one of my LinkedIn trainings, I use Meg The Stallion as an example, where she is an artist who creates entertainment experiences that are so
Yes.
fantastic, they leave her audiences talking. So if you
Yes.
want people to be talking, you're going to book her to be at your concert, your music festival, or your campaign rally. As we
Yep.
know, it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation, right? But
Yes.
that's the value that she brings to entertainment
Right.
experiences, right? It's like she's gonna give the people what they want, and
Right.
they're gonna be talking about it.
Exactly. So it wouldn't just be, hey, I'm Meg The Stallion, I'm a rapper, I make music. That's
Mm-mm.
not good. No, that's not going to get her a book client or a book stage at
Right,
all.
right,
I love
right.
that you mentioned that example, because it's so funny, because everyone can be up in arms in comments and it's like, cha-ching. That's exactly
Listen,
that was the
listen,
exact reason it was done.
listen.
Y'all are talking, right?
All press is good press. Okay, that's what
So
I say. All press is good press.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you bring that out, because those statements, when LinkedIn developed that and people started putting, some people call it headlines. I love that you refer to it as a value proposition statement,
Mhm.
because when it first came out, and we're coming off of, Facebook statuses and all those things, I noticed no one really knew what to do with it. Some people are just like writing words, colon words. Some people are writing like, MBA, PhD, like
Yeah,
lists
yeah.
of degrees, that like
Right.
acronyms, like we're all supposed to know what they all mean. It was just like, what do they like to say? The Wild Wild West, right?
Yes, yes,
So
it
now
was.
you're telling people, hey, no, use this strategically. You only have so many characters. And what you're doing is anchoring people in who you are, what you do, and the results you can get them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when I do trainings, I do refer to it as the LinkedIn headline. But yeah, one of the biggest things I tell people is make sure you got to communicate the value. And
yes,
the reason why I say that is because a lot of the times I'll see people in their LinkedIn headlines, that top part of their LinkedIn profile, they'll say something like seeking opportunities in the marketing industry. Girl, what recruiter is going on LinkedIn and typing in seeking opportunities? Yeah, girl, use the skills you have. Say right. I come into organizations and I lead teams to create award-winning campaigns. Something like that, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part of it too. You want to get found and you need those keywords to be found. I tell people this with their podcast name too. Like, stop with the play on words. All right. Do you want to get found or not? Do you want to be listened to or not? Okay. We don't have time for this.
Right. It's all in the keywords. It's all in the search engine. It's all in the
keywords. Yeah. So now we know that. So if you are a side hustler, make sure that you're utilizing LinkedIn and you're letting people know what you do. Okay. Yes. Next step. So now let's talk about actually how you recommend using LinkedIn to make more money, whether that's within an org or with your side hustle.
Yes. Well, so for people with side hustles specifically, you definitely want to check with your organization to make sure if there's any rules, especially as a Black woman, make sure if there's any rules against you promoting your side hustle on the internet. So if you're fair game with that, just make sure you're in alignment with like, okay, I'm not going to post on LinkedIn during business hours. So maybe I'll post like at 8 a.m. or 6 p.m., something like that. And then you want to, in your about section, use your about section to talk about the skills you have when it comes to your career. And then you want to use maybe a paragraph or two to talk about your side hustle and how people can reach you. That's like the number one thing that I miss in people's about section. It's like, they're like, okay, you know, I'm a marketer by day.
If that's in my about. No.
How are they supposed to reach you? Right. You know, like, it's like I'm a marketer by day, a photographer by night. Include your portfolio link in your about section. Include a way for people to reach out to you in your about section. Yes. And then if you really want to, you know, get into making money, the hardest part for that is the content creation. That's really how you're gonna,
We're gonna get into that piece. So about that about section, I find the same thing on Instagram. So when Instagram created the email button, or a lot of people just assume that people are clicking that, but actually that for some reason wasn't on the version, what's that, the desktop version? It's only on the mobile version. It might have changed now, but originally it wasn't. So you can't take for granted that people are not able to find your email easily. Don't even wait for them to click the link in the bio. Go ahead and put that in your bio. And so it's the same thing with LinkedIn. And we often forget it because we're thinking of all the stuff we want to write. And then it's like, okay, great. So now where do they go? You know, tell them your email and tell them next steps, blah, blah, blah. So thank you for calling that out. Now we're going to talk a little bit about content creation. I have to share my experience a little bit here too, because I'm big on focusing on one social media platform at a time, right? Getting really good, understanding it, and then branching out. So I recently shifted my attention to LinkedIn. And I didn't realize how much I was underutilizing it. I was almost a little embarrassed. Like, girl, you don't even have a real bio on here? What is wrong with you? But I was focused, okay? Yes. And in starting to create content, it certainly does move the needle, but it's also harder than you realize. So tell us a little bit about what is the strategy when it comes to creating content on LinkedIn. What do you think is effective?
Yeah, that's a great question. But first, I want to say that when it comes to people knowing what they're talking about, you can tell that Nikayla knows what she's talking about. Because she said to focus on the one social media platform. I know she knows what she's talking about. Okay, when people are scammers and they start talking about all this, do all the platforms, I'd be like, this is a true person right here, y'all.
This is it. Like I say, grab the real estate. Yeah, I say grab the real estate, but you can't be fully present and successful on everyone at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you. I just had to reiterate that. But yes, in terms of content creation on LinkedIn, the good thing is that It's not like Instagram where you have to post 50, 11 times a day, stories, reels, photos, videos, live. I was like, what is going on? Right?
Dizzy.
Girl, very dizzying. But with LinkedIn, I tell people, especially if you've never created content, just start once a week. Just start with one post once a week. Post it either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Try it at 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m., or maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and focus on what you know best. Yes. So if somebody asks you a question, in fact, you can probably think of the questions that people ask you most frequently and just say, oh, like, how would I respond to this question in my own authentic voice? That's the main thing, is you want to speak in your own authentic voice, because LinkedIn has changed a lot since the pandemic. It's not like this stuffy, boring place.
Yes, it has. It really has. And I am finding, and the reason I started turning more and more attention to it is I find it fascinating. Whereas social media, number one, you're dealing with a lot of bots, a lot of people. You can still create usernames that I get so frustrated with Instagram because I'm trying to find somebody whose name I know and I can't find them because their username is something different. I'm just like, but with LinkedIn, these are all humans for the most part. You can find them by searching their first and last name easily. And I find it fascinating because I see content from everyone from my admissions officer from my business school. And it's like, this is someone who, I used to be intimidated by. When you're trying to get accepted somewhere, you're trying to like impress people. You don't think of them as human anymore, right? Think of how you used to think about your teachers growing up. Like you just didn't. So when I see you on LinkedIn sharing stories about your grandparents and the sharing stories of her life that weave into the lessons she's learned as a leader, and then also promoting her leadership client work, I'm so fascinated by this. And I see that there's a need for more people like yourself or like myself to help people now in their next phase of life, next phase of career, understand how to create content that amplifies what they are good at.
Yes, that part, amplifying what you are good at. And that also goes back to you saying using social media intentionally. Like, don't just get on LinkedIn and be like, all right, today I had a sandwich. Girl, I'm not talking about your sandwich. Unless that sandwich is you had it with Warren Buffett and y'all talked about how to make money, right? Like that's, what I'm saying? That's a different thing.
You can share your personal life, but again, don't just let them use you. Like think about, well, what am I trying to accomplish? Or even what am I trying to learn here? Like always have that in mind.
Always post with intention. Always think to yourself, like, what is the end goal? That's another thing that I really work with my clients. It's like, okay, you want to create this content, but like, what do you want? Like you want to be, invited to more podcasts. You want to be on more panels. You want more visibility in terms of internally in your company, like what exactly is it that you want? So move forward with that intention.
Exactly. It's like, and then what? Like, what's the impact you want to have? What's even the life you want to have? If you think 10 years from now, I want to be having the flexibility to work from anywhere. I want a home XYZ place, or I want a home overlooking water and like all these other things, like really think about the life you want to have and then how you can get there. And it sounds so crazy, but this is the world we live in now where it can begin with content. It can begin with sharing on social media, sharing on LinkedIn.
Exactly. There's so many. I mean, like even when I was coming up, like when I first started in social, if you had told me that Instagram was going to look like it looks now, I'd be like, you're kidding. There's no way. There's people who create content and make money. Like there's no way. If you had told me YouTube with all the cat videos 10 years ago, was going to be what it is today. I'm like, there's no way. Like same thing with LinkedIn. There's going to be a point where people will be able to really monetize their content on LinkedIn. It'll come eventually.
Yeah, but it's happening in different ways, right? Like, so people are building up a profile and then they're able to sell their coaching services or their group programs or even get hired to come in internally and consult for companies because of LinkedIn. So it might not be directly on the platform, but you're right. I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen one day. But if you are someone who still thinks of LinkedIn as this boring place that you just go to look for a job, as a job board, essentially, go to look for jobs, connect with companies, then I'm here to tell you it has changed. It has changed, friend.
It's changed
It
a
has
lot.
changed.
Yeah.
And why did you start to laser focus on LinkedIn?
Oh, well, the main goal was to help women make more money. And I saw that it was a very underutilized platform. But when I started working with people, like I mentioned before, I was working on people, their resumes and their LinkedIn profiles.
Yes.
So the resumes, it was like easier to work with people, but then they get so attached to the stuff, the bullet points in the resumes. I was like, okay, y'all are a little too attached to these things.
What do you mean by attached?
It would be like, no, I did this on this day at this time. I was like, what was the result? How much money did it was made?
You're like, I can't take that off. Oh no, I can't take that one off either.
You can take them all off. How much money did you make the company? How much time did you save the company? That's like,
Yes.
I was like, okay, relax. But for LinkedIn, it was like people were so confused.
I'm cracking up because I never thought about it that way, but it's kind of like helping someone clean out their house, right?
Yes.
Nobody wants to let go of anything.
That's it. That was exactly, girl, the resumes would be 5 pages long. I'd be like,
cut it out.
Why?
Why?
Who's reading it? The recruiters have, 60 seconds?
Nobody. Yep. They're skimming that first page. Maybe 2. We'll let you have 2. Maybe. Okay. Senior leaders, maybe, if that.
Yeah, senior leaders. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
But then LinkedIn, they were really confused about LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I have a marketing degree. I can market products. I can market people as well. So that's really where it came into. So I was like, okay, I can focus on LinkedIn more. And then I had the social media background. So it was just a lot easier for me to shift into focusing on LinkedIn.
You're helping people, but you're also side hustling. You're building out your own personal brand and elevating your own profile. So what were the strategic steps that you took to help you elevate your revenue earning potential?
Oh man, so many different things. One of the best things I did was I used LinkedIn, not use LinkedIn, but like I found my business besties on LinkedIn. And they were already business owners. So they have been extremely helpful to me in my business. So I met Nana and Morgan on LinkedIn, and we live in different cities, but we're like this, right? And them having all the lessons that they had, being able to impart that on me, that was extremely helpful in growing my business, like balancing working full time and working on my business and scaling it. That was super helpful.
What do you mean by a business bestie? So what do they do? Are they kind of like your inner circle business mastermind?
Oh, they're more like they're my friends. And then they own businesses as well. And we can talk about everything. So we can talk about business. We can talk about life. We can talk about all the things. But they're just a really great support system. I would say that.
Yes.
A really good support system. Yeah.
And what did they help you with? Like, what were you struggling with as you were building out your own business?
Oh, my goodness. The main thing, those two would always be like, girl, raise your prices.
What's the one thing? Okay, Portia emailed me the other day and she was like, I finally launched it. And then she told me the price. And I was like, a look of confusion came across my face. But that's because I know the expertise. I know the expertise you have. And that's great, y'all. We're going to talk to you about the course in a little bit and grab it while you can at this rate. But it should be higher. So why did you struggle with that?
It was mostly me putting my thoughts about what I view in terms of money in other people's pockets. And that's what Morgan would say to me all the time. She'd be like, you cannot dictate what's in other people's pockets.
No.
So when you replied that, I said, that you sound just like my business bestie.
Yes. And it's a fine line, right? Because I've heard people say this and, like, oh, you can't count other people's money. But I've heard people say that in an exploitative way, like they are doing things that I don't agree with. However, I do believe that we do too much assuming. And I was actually just listening to a podcast today on my way to and from Trader Joe's. And someone said, working in retail helped her as a coach as she's pricing, because she realized people will come in and buy all sorts of stuff that they don't need. Like, you don't need $1,000 purse, but people will buy that. But yet you're afraid to price your course at $1,000 because you're like, oh no, this is too expensive. No one will ever buy that. Girl, they are up in Nordstrom buying that purse. Okay. They don't need that. That's not going to help them make any money, but your course will.
What a mindset shift. Yes. The pricing, that was the struggle. I have increased them since starting.
Oh, good. Okay.
Since I started. If you had seen the prices when I first started.
Because you also saw the results, right? So what are some of the things you mentioned a little bit, Brittany's results? Like, what are some of the things you started seeing from your clients?
Yeah, I started seeing the results. One of my clients, she got a corporate client off of the content that she was posting on LinkedIn. Then like another client got a new job, and then another one got a promotion. And I was like, oh, I'm helping people. Like, this is actually working. And then also another mindset shift in terms of my pricing was like obviously, I need to make money in this business. And then you need to have, you need to have like a price point where people are invested enough.
Yes.
But like, it's not too much.
Right.
And so I was like, because there was one client who paid for the service. Girl, I haven't heard from her. I did the whole thing. I was like, I finished your profile. Now I got to log in and update your profile. I said, oh, I must not have charged enough because she's gone.
Gone.
I said, okay.
And you're right. There's a certain mentality that comes with certain investment prices, but it can be that all of this is nuanced, right? We're not telling you like, oh, go out, launch your first course and charge XYZ. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I know when you are 10 toes down in it, doing this work, this work, the results that this work gets, then it's time to reevaluate and look at your beliefs. I won't even call them limiting, but the beliefs that inform the choices that you're making about what you charge.
Exactly. Oh, I love this. This is why they pay the big bucks.
Now, and speaking of the big bucks, so before we leave or going to the lightning round, I'm curious to know, we talked about certain aspects of LinkedIn. So we talked about the value prop, aka your headline. We talked about the overview of your profile itself, right? Your bio and how to think about that. We talked about the content, right? What about the connection piece? How can you utilize the connection piece in a strategic way, aka who you're connecting with, to help you to side hustle and make money on LinkedIn?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of people struggle with their ideal client, right? You ask somebody, so like, who is your product for? Who is your service for? They'd be like, everybody. Absolutely not. Who is the one person who is buying your product, who is buying your service? Those are the people that you connect with on LinkedIn, but do not sell them in the first.
Oh, no. Don't ask me for nothing. Okay. I have connected with some people recently too, because I'm, building up my profile, and then immediately, I want to get on a call when, I think this would be great for Side Hustle Pro. Delete archive message. Delete, because you have to understand the mental space people are into first. It's like a date. Get to know me. See what I'm posting. See, I'm a busy mom. I am stretched. My mind is stretched. I don't want to be pitched in the DM right now. Like, get to know me, maybe send me a, hey, I love this post, date me, court me. What the hell? You want to jump all in.
I know. Jump all in.
Get out of here. Delete.
Exactly. I can't with the delete and archive message.
Out of here.
That's funny. I like that. Delete and archive.
I'm sorry, guys. This is where I am right now. This is where I am.
No,
by the way,
I don't.
Yeah. But
I don't blame you at all.
How should we go about it?
A lot of the times when I'm connecting with somebody who is a potential client, I'm just like, hey, how are you? Just ask them, how you doing? What exciting things do you have coming up in the next couple of months? Like, because we're moving into the end of summer, I've been asking people, like, what are you looking forward to towards the end of summer? Or if it's somebody who's in a similar industry as me, because I have a newsletter, I'm always looking for content to include in my newsletter. I'm just like, do you have any, free trainings coming up? Any, are you releasing a book? I can include it in my newsletter. So I'm always looking for ways to support people, and the people who are supposed to come to you, they will come to you eventually. Yes. They will.
Yeah. And do you find that there are any people who have naturally large followings? Like my husband Moyo is great at this. Like when he does share, it's so interesting. Like he has, I feel like he must be up to like 10, 14, 10,000. I don't even know how. But again, we're so busy. He's so busy. Like he doesn't have time to always optimize or do more with that following. So do you find there are people like that? And what's your advice for them?
Yeah, well, your husband has a great background where he's been an entrepreneur.
Yes.
He's worked
Yeah.
at phenomenal
Yes.
companies, and
Yeah. And he's awesome at content and sharing, like, here's what I'm unpacking. Here's something I'm working on right now.
he's usually working on something to help the people. So he's
Yes.
got,
Yes.
yeah.
By the way,
So
he just released this website too. And that really did well on LinkedIn because he told people about this website he made to help you make sure that you're registered to vote. Like it's called myvoterstatus.com.
yes, no, yeah, I saw that post. Yeah, and I saw like after he posted it. Another thing your husband did really well is that after he posted it and people were reposting it, he was reposting what people posted as a way. No, like that shows appreciation, right? Like that shows that like because like you can share stuff, right? And you maybe
Yeah.
post something that somebody shares, but for them to acknowledge that you did that, it's like, oh,
Yes. Yeah. I don't do a good job with that, right? Like people will comment even over on YouTube and I'm like, I see it. I'm like, oh, let me respond. And I forget, but
right.
immediately acknowledging, reposting the repost, it just continues to add the visibility in the feed.
Yes. And then again, that's something that like your husband is a good case study, in fact. Because
he is.
Yeah, he's a good case study because not only is he sharing like stuff that's helpful for the people, but that is true to him and authentic to himself. And I find that the people who are true and authentic to themselves are the ones that'll get more of a following, more people engaged with their content. You can tell he's very passionate about these things. And so that comes through. It doesn't come through. You can tell when people are using AI.
Yeah.
Like literally copying the AI and just pasting it. You can tell, but then you can tell when it's authentic.
Now, there's some AI it's getting better now, but you have to be able to still add your flair and customize. Like we're not saying you can't utilize it to get the bare bones beginning of an outline for something, but you're absolutely right. You can tell. And that's why it may not be as frequent, because he's not going to post unless he has something that he cares about to post.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you're like that, when you're kind of waiting for inspiration to come, but actually you need to post more frequently?
It's a good question because your husband is a great example of somebody who he's not pressed to use LinkedIn to get clients or like a new job or anything. He's going to use it when he's excited about something. But if you have a side hustle, there's probably every single day something in your side hustle that you're like, oh man, like I learned something or I want to share this with somebody. And just start to keep that in whatever you use for your content planning, whether you use a Google Calendar, a Google Sheet, a Asana, Trello, whatever you use, click up all the things, whatever you use. Just start to drop those ideas in there. And those are all pieces of content. You may think to yourself, oh, like, is this going to be helpful to somebody? Yes. If you help one person, you've done your job for the day.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, Portia, because I think I overthink LinkedIn content. Now, I know I'm not the only one. And it's like, I know what I'm doing. I give people this advice all the time to not overthink it. But yet here I am overthinking it. And you know what it is? I feel a little more exposed. And y'all might be feeling this too, because you're connected to old bosses, old coworkers, and they're all in your business. They want to know, oh, what's she doing now?
Yeah.
It feels more high stakes. So how do you get over the this has to be perfect? A leader in my field might see this, even though you're also a leader, but someone might say, no, you're wrong about that.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. How do you get over that?
Well, also, I tell people, you can get over it by getting over yourself because most people think about, right? If you think about your day, like how often are you thinking about other people, right?
Never. Not ever.
Exactly.
Between me, Moyo, and two whole kids, I cannot think about anybody else. I do not care about nothing y'all got going on. I'm so very sorry.
2 whole kids, little ones.
2 little ones.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like most of the time when you do post, people are happy. They are like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. It's either something that's going to, improve their day or make them laugh or help them. So yes, most of the time they're not really concerned about you. I will say though, I have had those nosy coworkers, and you just gotta pray for them because where are your hobbies? Where is your family? Where are your friends?
Stop worrying about me. Worry about yourself. Oh my gosh. So Portia, are you full-time now as a LinkedIn coach, or are you still side hustling?
I'm still a side hustler on my way. I'm on my way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I am there. Yeah, I'm there.
How do you market yourself?
Oh, I do a lot of online, so a lot of LinkedIn newsletters, which the importance of newsletters, and then I'm doing more in person now, going to different local networking events. That's super helpful.
Yes. And I'll never forget when my sister Natalie reached out for someone to speak at I think it was a Toastmasters event.
Yes, it was Toastmasters. Yes,
and she was like, Portia's a superstar, because I said your name and I was like, yes, she is. Yes, she's LinkedIn all the way. So before we get into the lightning round, tell us a little bit more about your course and, what it's called and what do you teach people?
Yes, so I have a LinkedIn Glow Up course, which is an expanded version of my free training that I do about twice a year, the LinkedIn Glow Up. And it walks people through how to update 4 parts of their LinkedIn profile so that they can gain more visibility on the platform. So I go through the cover photo, the profile photo, the headline or your value proposition statement, and then the about section. And then there's some bonuses in the course. So this is the do-it-yourself version of LinkedIn. So if you want to get started, I tell people just do something. Like something is better than nothing, right? Please get started, because all the time you're spending thinking about what you should do or what you shouldn't do, you're just wasting time and money, in the short term. So invest in yourself.
You go through the profile photo, the cover photo,
the headline, and the about section.
We didn't even touch on the photo and the cover photo. Why are they so important?
So the profile photo is extremely important because it is literally the easiest way for you to gain visibility on the platform. LinkedIn literally has data that shows that people with profile photos get 21 more times views on their profiles and 9 times more connection requests. I'm pretty sure even from personal experience, when somebody doesn't have a photo, you're like, I don't know about this. But a photo, and then you can be true and authentic to yourself in the photo. For me personally, I tell people it's a good way to weed out the companies that aren't going to accept you as yourself. So if you see my profile photo on LinkedIn, I have on a bold lip color and bright colors, very true to myself. And then your cover photo is also called the LinkedIn banner or LinkedIn billboard. That gives people a preview of the work that you do before they even scroll down to your profile. So when I work with a lot of coaches, consultants, or side hustlers, I'll have something in their LinkedIn banner that speaks to the work that they do. So if they help organizations upskill their employees, or if they create brands that sell more and get more visibility, I'll have that in the cover photo, aka the LinkedIn banner.
That's such a hack because, recently, I've been testing it out and I saw, someone else in my industry, because I also think doing some competitor research and understanding what's working is helpful as well. So seeing that she posted about her masterclass and she had it as the cover photo with an arrow, and I tested that out, but I kind of wasn't sure what to do in between my masterclasses. So it's really interesting platform, and I really enjoy that. That's a way to hack when you don't have enough character space in the headline to share even more about who you are, what you do, and what results you can give people.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
Portia knows more, y'all. So you tap into her, learn all you can, and let her know I sent you. So now we are going to get into the lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1, what is a resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Side Hustle Pro audience?
So many. I'll just get it down to a couple. So we have Verizon Small Business Digital Ready, a phenomenal platform. They have free courses and also they have live classes. All of it is free. Somebody helped me with my business financial projections. They're like legit classes. And then also your local small business development center. They're going to be super helpful to you. And then if you have a local women's business development center, they're also going to be very helpful to you.
Love that. Okay. Now, number 2, who is a Black woman entrepreneur, non-celebrity, who you'd want to switch places with for a day, and why?
Yes, it would be Janice Bryant. How does she pronounce her
Howroyd, yes.
Howroyd, yes.
Miss Janice.
Miss Janice, yes. She's been on your show. I think she's phenomenal. Like, she went to a HBCU. She reps HBCUs hard. She is she is very rich, but can be, she can be low key, she can navigate the world without you knowing that she is very rich, even though she has like an aura to her, it seems like.
Right. She doesn't have a t-shirt like Nene or nothing like, I am very rich. But she actually is very rich.
I'm rich.
That's what I thought of when you said that. Yes, she is phenomenal. Okay, number 3. What is a non-negotiable part of your day?
Prayer.
Yes.
Yes.
Number 4. What is a personal trait that has helped you significantly in business?
Listening. I just listen. I hear things, and then I'm just like, okay, I see what's going on, and then I can reflect it back to people.
Ooh, that is such a good trait. And then finally, what is your parting advice for fellow women side hustlers who want to be their own boss, but are worried about losing a steady paycheck?
Oh, okay. It is scary. That's number 1. Acknowledge it is scary. But what you should do is be very honest with yourself about the numbers. How much money do you spend down to the nails, the mascara, everything? Put it down, how much money you actually spend. Get very intimate with your money. Know all the dollars. Look at the money every day if you have to. Open the bank account every day if you have to, so you can realistically find out how much money you need to make to cover your living expenses, your business expenses, and your taxes, y'all. You got to pay the taxes.
Yes.
It is scary, but you are capable of doing it. And I always tell women all the time, if you don't do it for yourself, do it for the women that are coming after you.
Absolutely. I love that. Oh, my goodness. So, Portia, where can people connect with you, join your course after this episode?
Oh, thank you. So I'm on LinkedIn. Of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, Portia Obing. You can connect with me, and I will accept your connection request within 3 to 6 months, because I'm very, very behind on those connection requests. But I will accept it. I'll get
that. Yes.
I'm very behind, but I will accept it. Don't you worry. And then also, I create content on TikTok. Again, unsolicited advice. Nobody asked me to share. So I create that on TikTok. And then I have my website, PortiaObing.com, where you can find my course. And I'm so happy to connect with all of you.
Yay. All right. And there you have it, you guys. I will talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.